Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping straight into a massive paradigm shift. We're talking about EVPN and VXLAN and how they are completely revolutionizing modern data center networking. If you're in IT, you already know the demands on our data centers are just skyrocketing. The old ways we used to build networks, they just can't keep up anymore. So, let's unpack exactly how this new architecture changes literally everything.
But first, let me ask you a quick question. Are you constantly frustrated with legacy network protocols? I mean, are you tired of dealing with blocked links, wasted bandwidth, and, waking up in a cold sweat, terrified that a random broadcast storm is taking down your entire environment? If you're nodding right now, believe me, you are not alone. It's a daily, grinding struggle for network engineers everywhere. Okay, so here's our roadmap to the solution. Number 1, the death of spanning tree. 2, enter EVPN and VXLAN. 3, bridging the data center. 4, routing and Anycast gateways. 5, multi-homing without peer links. And finally, 6, the modern network fabric.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the death of spanning tree. We really need to explore why the legacy networks we all grew up with are basically broken for today's workloads.
For years, the absolute core protocol in the data center was Spanning Tree Protocol, or STP. But honestly, by modern standards, it has some fatal flaws. First off, the convergence is just incredibly slow. I mean, we're talking up to 50 seconds sometimes. Second, its main mechanism for preventing loops is to literally just block redundant links. That means you only get one active path per layer 2 domain. You could be paying top dollar for 100 gig or 400 gig links, and they're just sitting there, unused. On top of that, STP relies on data plane flooding to learn MAC addresses, which is super inefficient. And finally, when you want to route east-west traffic between different subnets in the same data center, you often have to send it all the way up to a centralized core router and back down again. It creates this massive bottleneck we call trombone routing.
So, getting away from all that represents a huge paradigm shift. We're moving away from STP's data plane learning, where switches essentially just blindly flood traffic around to build their MAC address tables. Instead, EVPN steps in. It uses a control plane, specifically BGP, to learn exactly where every single endpoint lives. And the best part? Because we're no longer relying on spanning tree, we can finally utilize every single physical link in our network as an active path. No more wasted bandwidth.
Okay, Section 2, enter EVPN and VXLAN. Let's transition into the fundamental components that actually make this active data center dream a reality.
First up is EVPN, or Ethernet VPN. I want you to think of EVPN as the brain of your new network. Instead of waiting for a device to send traffic just to learn its MAC address, the leaf switches in an EVPN fabric, which we call VTEPs, use multi-protocol BGP to proactively advertise and distribute MAC and IP addresses to one another. It's actually very similar to how traditional routers advertise IP subnets, but here we're doing it for individual MAC and IP endpoints.
Now, if EVPN is the brain, VXLAN is definitely the muscle. VXLAN, or Virtual Extensible LAN, is our data plane encapsulation. See, because our entire physical network, the underlay, is now running layer 3 routing to keep all those links active, we need a way to pass our layer 2 traffic across it. That's what VXLAN does. It takes your original layer 2 frame, wraps it up nicely in a UDP and IP header, and tunnels it right across that layer 3 network.
Moving on to Section 3, bridging the data center. Let's see how EVPN and VXLAN team up to make your entire data center act like one giant virtual switch. Tucked inside that VXLAN header is something absolutely crucial, the VNI, or VXLAN Network Identifier. This is a 24-bit value that completely blows past the old 12-bit VLAN tag limitations. The VNI basically acts as the globally unique identifier for your broadcast domain across the entire fabric. So when a packet is tunneled, the VNI is the exact piece of data that tells the receiving switch, hey, this is the broadcast domain this traffic actually belongs to.
But wait, how do we keep things separate in the control plane? Especially if, say, you're a service provider or a massive enterprise dealing with overlapping RFC 1918 IP addresses? Well, that is where the route distinguisher, or RD, comes in. Since EVPN allows for true multi-tenancy, you could easily have customer A and customer B both using the exact same 10.10.10.0 subnet. The route distinguisher gets attached to the BGP advertisement to make sure those identical IPs or MAC addresses stay completely unique in the BGP routing cable.
Think of the RD like a unique tracking number prepended to an address. It guarantees the post office never mixes up two identical street names in different cities.
Next to the RD, we have the route target, or RT. If the RD is your tracking number, the route target is basically your mailroom sorting rule. When a switch receives a BGP route that contains a MAC address, the route target dictates exactly which forwarding table, known as a MAC VRF, that address actually goes into. You configure an export RT when you send the route out and an import RT to accept it on the receiving end.
So let's ground this. Let's walk through the actual mechanical process. When a server sends a frame, the ingress leaf switch, the VTEP, looks up the destination in its EVPN-built database. It encapsulates that payload into a VXLAN, UDP, and IP header. Then it shoots it over to the spine switch. Now here's a really fascinating detail. That spine switch, it knows absolutely nothing about MAC addresses or VXLAN. It doesn't care. It simply looks at the outer IPv4 destination address and routes it normally. Finally, the egress VTEP receives it, strips off that VXLAN header based on the VNI, and delivers the original frame right to the destination server. It is just a brilliant separation of duties.
All right, Section 4, Routing and Anycast Gateways. The really crucial point here is that once bridging is solved, we need to turn this entire fabric into one big virtual router to handle traffic between different subnets.
To understand why EVPN routing is so incredibly powerful, let's look at a real-world scenario. What actually happens to the default gateway when a virtual machine migrates from a server in, let's say, Rack 1 to a totally new server over in Rack 10? In legacy setups, preserving the ARP cache and making sure that VM could still reach its gateway without dropping connections, well, it was a massive headache.
EVPN solves this so elegantly using something called the Anycast Gateway. With an Anycast Gateway, you configure the exact same default gateway IP address and the exact same MAC address on every single leaf switch in your entire fabric. So if your VM moves from Rack 1 to Rack 10, it literally has no idea it even moved. It just sends traffic to its default gateway, and the local top of rack switch handles the routing right then and there. Boom! No more trombone routing up to a distant core router.
Now, when it comes to routing between these subnets, EVPN relies on integrated routing and bridging, or IRB. You'll generally see two flavors of this, asymmetric and symmetric. Asymmetric IRB is an older legacy method that uses different VNIs for the request and the response. The problem there is every single switch needs to have every single VNI configured locally. It just doesn't scale well at all. On the flip side, symmetric IRB, which is the modern standard, scales beautifully. If the destination is on a different subnet, the ingress switch simply routes it into a dedicated transit routing VNI. That exact same routing VNI is used for both the request and the response, which keeps your configuration super light and highly scalable across your hardware.
Moving on to Section 5, Multihoming without peer links. Let's tackle multihoming and see how EVPN completely shatters the limitations of those older dual homing technologies.
If you have ever had to configure MLAG or VPC, you intimately know the pain of sacrificing your high-speed, expensive physical ports just to create a peer link. Not to mention the constant headaches of managing keep-alive links. EVPN multihoming completely changes the game here. With EVPN, you require absolutely no dedicated physical peer links between your leaf switches. Zero.
So how does it work? Well, instead of physical cables connecting the switches together, EVPN uses software and control plane messaging. We use an ESI, or Ethernet Segment Identifier. This is a 10-byte value that you configure on the interfaces pointing down to the server. Both leaf switches advertise this ESI into BGP using a Type 4 route. When they see each other advertising that exact same ESI, they dynamically realize, oh hey, we're connected to the exact same server, and they form a cluster virtually. They share the load balancing without wasting a single physical port for a peer link. It's so cool. And that brings us to Section 6, the modern network fabric. Let's pull all these mechanics together and look at the ultimate big picture of the modern data center.
At the end of the day, what EVPN and VXLAN have done is effectively transformed the entire physical network into one giant, highly efficient virtual switch and router. We have completely solved the spanning tree problem by using a routed underlay with equal cost multipathing, meaning every single link is active and forwarding traffic. We've enabled totally seamless virtual machine mobility using Anycast gateways. And we've eliminated the need for those wasted peer links using ESI multihoming. Basically, every single bottleneck we complained about at the beginning of this explainer, systematically resolved.
Let's wrap up with this final exciting thought. As we really enter this new era of high-performance compute and artificial intelligence, our data centers are going to be pushed harder than they ever have been before. EVPN and VXLAN provide that incredibly robust, highly scalable, active foundation required to actually handle that massive scale. The legacy days are over for sure. So, taking a hard look at your own environments today, are you ready for the scale of tomorrow? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.